Welcome to the Think Harder podcast. This is where we dig into different topics relating to politics, entertainment, and whatever else we can think of. This is episode 1. Tonight we're going to go ahead and compare two presidential candidates who are running for the 2020 nomination for the Democratic Party. They are Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders. Now, the reason why we're going to go ahead and compare these two is because Andrew Yang has a real popular idea, or idea that's becoming more and more popular, that's called universal basic income. It's where the citizens of a country are guaranteed a basic or a minimum income by their government. Andrew Yang's being $1,000 a month, starting at the age of 18 till you die. That's his main proposal. And Bernie Sanders is pretty much fighting for multiple things. He's fighting for a minimum wage increase, which will only be for working people, of course. People who don't work will not get much. But he is fighting for free health care, so everyone gets the medical attention they need for free, because he believes healthcare is a human right, and we should all be having that. Now, Andrew Yang does believe in Medicare for all, but he also has a public option, which won't eliminate insurance companies right away. He does say it'll take about maybe a term or two before that phases out, where Bernie wants to implement it as soon as possible. Alright, so pretty much this. I just want to compare the universal basic income that Andrew Yang is proposing to something that Bernie Sanders talks about a lot, but he's not really pushing it as much as Andrew Yang is pushing his universal basic income. What am I talking about? I'm talking about workers' co-ops, workers' cooperatives. This is where businesses are not owned by a single person or a small group of people. Instead, if you work at a company, you get a say, you get a vote. Now, the votes won't be equal, of course. If you're all the way at the bottom, doesn't mean you're going to get an equal amount of say to the people who, work harder and make more money. But you do get a vote in the decisions that the company gets to say. That's worker co-ops. So when it comes to increasing the pay, you'll get a vote. You'll get a say in how much people should get paid. Because today in America, the CEOs of companies compared to the bottom earners is ridiculous. The wage gap is just so wide. 50 years ago, or probably more, the ratio used to be 1 to 25 from, the people on the bottom to the owner of the company, right? If you make $1, for example, they make $25. Today, I believe it's something 1 to 500 or something like that, which is way crazy. It's gone out of control, and that's capitalism for you. So what we want to do is go ahead and I want to play a clip. This is a video clip, so you get to see something of Andrew Yang talking about the universal basic income. And then I'm going to go ahead and play another clip of Bernie Sanders talking about workers' co-ops. So you can hear it directly from them, and we can talk about it, see which one we believe will be more beneficial for the long term for us. All right. So here's Andrew Yang.
So universal basic income, $1,000 a month, is an insurance policy against the threat of automation.
Yeah, it helps give tens of millions of Americans a real path forward. And the thing that excites me the most is you can see that it would improve people's health, nutrition, it would elevate graduation rates, it would improve people's mental health, but it would help people make transitions in a time of historic change.
If you get pushed out of a job by automation, how's $12,000 a year going to change your life?
Well, I've looked at the numbers around the country, and I've spent the last 7 years helping create several thousand jobs in the Midwest and the South. And so $1,000 a month would be a game changer for tens of millions of Americans, but it would also lead to 2 million new jobs because of all the economic activity. And it would make our labor force much more dynamic because right now a lot of Americans are stuck in place and are having a hard time moving for different opportunities.
There you have it. And here's Bernie Sanders talking about workers' cooperatives.
Democracy basically means, to as great a degree as possible, not just politically, but economically as well, giving people control over their own lives. And very few people talk about it, which is why the work that you do is so important. What you are saying is that people should have some control over their work life as well as their political life. That when somebody gets to work in the morning, they should have some say about how that work is arranged and how that company functions. And when we do that, we make people much stronger. We make people feel much better about themselves than simply being a cog in the machine.
Okay. So as you can see, the one that I prefer, just to let you all know right away, is actually Bernie Sanders' workers' co-op. Why? So, yes, automation is already here and will increase, and many people will be laid off because that's the decision that the companies are going to make, right? Because the ones in the top just want to keep making more money. So if they have artificial intelligence and robots doing the work, why do they need humans? They can just lay them off, and they can keep benefiting from this. And what Bernie Sanders is saying, and some other people like Richard Wolff, which I'll talk about in another episode, what we're saying is, instead of laying people off, we should give everyone work. But instead of working the full 8-hour shift, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, we cut that in half. So instead of working longer hours, we work shorter hours, since automation is here and it's supposed to make things easier, right? And with worker co-ops, you work shorter hours, you get a vote, you get a say. There's democracy in the workplace now. You get a say in what happens. You get a say in how everyone gets raised. You get a say in where to dump toxic waste, for example. You get a say in what happens to, what happens pretty much in the business. You get a say. So that's what I think. I think more people will be working, and that's something that we can do. Now with universal basic income, the problem here is that CEOs are going to lay people off, and Yang just wants to make sure that we have consumers. We have people with spending money to keep these businesses around, right? Because if they lay off everyone, if Amazon starts to lay off all their employees because they have wall-to-wall robots, who's going to buy from Amazon if these people don't have jobs? So what Yang is pretty much saying, let's save capitalism by making sure people can still buy from these companies, and what's going to happen to the ones who make the decisions of these companies. They're just going to get richer and richer. They're going to be so rich, filthy rich, that I don't think that's right, The rules shouldn't be that way. I think that we definitely need to control the income inequality that exists in the United States. And the universal basic income isn't going to solve that problem. And you know what? Just to help me with my thinking, here's Richard Wolff. I'm just going to show the clip where Richard Wolff explains the problems with universal basic income. Here it is.
In principle, are you in favor of a universal income?
No.
Really?
No.
Why not?
I told you, socialism, Marxism, these things are changing and rethinking just like everybody else. Here's what I don't like about the universal basic income. I like the idea that we can take care of everybody, and we ought to as a nation. What I don't like is to divide society into those who work and earn their income and those who don't work and still get an income. I don't see that as healthy. I don't see that as fair. And I see that as a prescription for trouble down the road. Here's my suggestion. When we have technological change like robots, computers, let the work day be shortened. Make everybody work to do their fair share and so participate in the benefits of technology with a shorter work week for everybody, so nobody gets an income without working and no one works without getting an income. That would be a better way to take care of people than what we do now, which is use technology to make a lot of profits for people, throw a lot of people out of work, and then be surprised when they're at each other.
Okay, so I've shared 3 different clips with you. I've shared the Andrew Yang clip, I've shared the Bernie Sanders clip, and I've shared the Richard Wolff clips. This is something we got to think about, and we'll continue this topic in episode 2. But for now, I'm limited in time, and it's going on already 11 minutes. So I'm going to stop here, and we'll pick off the show tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and we'll continue. Bye.